Hi, Susan. It's great to see your face. I'm so glad that you're able to join us. Everyone's muted right now, but we'll get started in just a minute. Frederick and Wanda, don't see your faces, but I see your name. Maria, hi, Tony. We'll just give folks a couple more minutes to hop on. Hi, Amy. Muted. We'll unmute the folks who are going to be sharing information with us, but I'd like to go ahead and again, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to introduce the folks who are going to be really speaking to the information that we're going to be sharing today. And that is Raquel Braithwaite. If you want to wave your hand. She is our Director of Community Life, and Debbie White, who is our event planner. So today we're going to be talking about community life. And here at Summit Vista, it's very different from other organizations and other senior living communities. And we want to be able to speak to that today, certainly answer your questions, but this is really about a deep dive into our philosophy and why we have the events and programming and clubs and interest groups that we have, share some stories of success, and certainly be able to answer your questions as well. And we want to talk overall as well about the Community Life program and the layers of support that we provide for our residents to help keep them independent and safe and healthy. All righty, so what I'd like to do is go ahead and we can unmute Raquel and Debbie together. Oh, you're in separate spaces now. Great.
Or yeah, we're waiting for some computers to boot up.
Got it. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. Nicole, why don't you talk to us about the philosophy behind what we do for our residents and how you approach planning and coordinating the events that we have here?
Sure, I'd love to. Do you want to turn your, yeah, you turn the volume down. Okay. We're just, here, let me go out here. We're trying to socially distance in the same space with our own laptop so you can see us well, but that's not working. So now we're a hallway. So thank you, Christy, for the introduction and asking about our programming. We, as Christy said, it is very different than anything you see in other communities. And one of the reasons for that is because Summit Vista itself is different. And so I want to touch on that just from an activities perspective for a moment. If you go and look at other communities and visit places, you will, I would encourage, which I absolutely encourage you to do, you will learn that many of those communities exist because home is no longer a good option for people. Where at Summit Vista, that is not our approach at all. Summit Vista is really not suitable for people where home is no longer an option. It's for people who want to live their best possible life and do things that matter most to them. So it is an active, vibrant community where people are coming and going and engaging in activities that mean a lot to them, and to sometimes even trying new things, which we absolutely support because that is great for your health and well-being. And so with that approach in mind, when we looked at community life several years ago when we were just coming into being, we knew that we didn't want to take the typical approach, which is an activities director. And those people are often trained in helping people who may have, who live in community settings like assisted living and skilled nursing, and have activities that are meaningful to them. They have training to work with people with cognitive changes and challenges, or physical changes and challenges. And that is, it's a wonderful skill set and career, but that's not what we need at Summit Vista, because again, Summit Vista is different in that we are active, and people are coming and going, and very interested in a different kind of approach to activities and events. And so instead of hiring an activities director like you would typically see, we actually hired a event planner. And that's where our Debbie comes in. And when I say event planner, this is not just someone who's planned weddings and conferences. She has actually traveled the world planning corporate events. She tells me about the stories when she would go to Italy, and just all these amazing places to plan huge events for these large corporate teams. And she has such a talent for creating enjoyable experiences for people. And so I think that's important for you all to know about our approach, because it is so different than anything you would see out in other communities. And again, it's not bad. It's just a very, very different. And that colors everything we do, is that event approach. And the other thing I would say is, while we have a full calendar of events that we sponsor at Summit Vista, we also want to have clubs that reflect residents' interests, talents, vocations, and content expertise. And here at Summit Vista, we have extraordinary residents who have done extraordinary things. As an example, we have a travel club that is a resident-led club. We have over 20 resident clubs. And we just so happen to have one of our residents who was a first career pharmacist, a second career travel agent, and so he hosts our travel club and has actually had trips. He's facilitated cruises and other long weekend trips, and invited other residents to go along in that capacity. And then of course we have book clubs, and a number of different book clubs. And I think of our mystery book club that is run by and facilitated by a couple who go to mystery book club conventions across the globe. And so we really have very rich content expertise, and we find that out before people move in. So when you are in the process of going through that move to Summit Vista and talking to Jason and Christy, at some point you will encounter either Amy, who's on the call, Amy Walker, or me. And we have a nice chat where we learn about you, and we learn what talents, interests, and life experiences that you have that you might be willing to share. And that's how we build such a breadth of activities and events and clubs here at Summit Vista. Debbie, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I loved everything that Raquel said. In my work as a corporate event planner for almost 20 years, I did that. You know, the corporation wanted me to plan a trip that would make these people want to sell so they could come back in the next year. And my philosophy was more, I want to have a memory that somebody can say, do you remember that time when we were on the ship in Monte Carlo and they did fireworks? And do you remember when we were having dinner in the wine caves in Napa Valley and the Phantom of the Opera music started playing and they sang to us? And that's what's important to me. And we have already started making those memories here at Summit Vista. In fact, Michelle, I have to say, I love your wall. It is so darling. And it reminds me of our last big open house we had. We had a Greatest Showman room. And oh, the memories, you know, I was looking back through pictures while we were working from home, and we have really done some fun things together. So I was just going to kind of talk to you a little bit about a few of the things that we've done, Raquel, unless you have anything else to add.
I think the group would love to hear about that.
Okay, I had to make a list because there's so many and I didn't want to leave the important things out. So as Raquel said, I got online and I checked and we have 30, yay, 30 resident-led clubs currently here at Summit Vista. Raquel mentioned the travel club, the book clubs. We also have some very knowledgeable residents who work at the Family History Library in downtown Salt Lake, and they run our Family History Club, and residents are having a great time tracing back their genes, their family. We also have a gardening club who has been very, very busy the last few months. You should see our garden. It's incredible. We are going to have such a harvest whenever it's harvest time that it's going to be great. Also, our Veterans Club is expanding, and we have so many members of our Veterans Club, and they have really been stepping up and doing great things in our community. When the newspaper people couldn't come in to deliver newspapers, our Veterans Club stepped right up and volunteered to deliver the newspapers to our residents. Also, they did, when they called me, they said, we're doing a police call. And that, what's that? I had no idea what a police call, in my mind, they were all going to come and raid us. But that means pick up trash. And so all of the veterans got together, they distanced themselves, but they all had their little garbage bag, and they went out along the roadside and they picked up trash around the community. So we're very lucky that we have these wonderful clubs, and that's just a few of them. What we also this is all before COVID kind of changed things for us, and we know that we're going to get right back to it very soon. But our residents, usually twice a month, would do what's called a fireside chat. And they would gather in the evening around the fireside, and each time they had a fireside chat, it would be different residents who would talk about themselves and talk about all the, some people have stories that just would surprise you, and you would never guess that they had done the things that they had done. But every resident has a very important message to say, and everybody loves the fireside chat so they can get to know their neighbors better. We also have a fabulous art studio / pottery studio on the first floor. And we have some residents who are master potters that give up their time to teach residents how to throw a pot on our pottery wheel, or just build it from the table up on the table. And we have a lot of residents who had no idea that they had that talent are making the most beautiful things you've ever seen. A lot of residents just like to do it, and then they like to sell the things they make in our marketplace, and the proceeds go towards an employee recognition fund. So, and they came up with all of these ideas themselves. Also, we try to, when we have a big event, we always try to I have an actual resident entertainment committee club that I meet with, and we talk about all the different holidays and what day it is, activities, and we try to come up with a plan of some fun things we can do. So if all of you would be involved or able to be involved in planning the fun things that we do here at Summit Vista. So one of the things we did was an Oktoberfest, and we decided that the Baines, who run our pottery studio, said we would be happy to have people come down and make their very own beer or root beer stein. So residents went in and they made they were so creative. I wish I could show them to you, but they made the cutest steins for our big Oktoberfest party. And they were so proud bringing them in, that, you know, talking about amongst themselves the cute steins they had made. We also have a wonderful craft woman that comes in and just, you know, it's not just little crafts that you could do anywhere. She brings in ideas that we would have never thought of. She taught the residents how to make leis. When we had one day we had a tropical party at lunchtime, and we had a full-on big luau at night. And so the residents had made their own leis, and they were gorgeous leis. Anyway, we try to tie in whatever activity we're doing with things that residents can do to build up to the big activity. So we enjoy doing that. The residents also help us make decorations for the clubhouse. So that's another thing that we can do in the art studio. And then as far as our events go, you know, I told you guys earlier about Phantom of the Opera in the Wine Caves, and I really wanted to have a special night for people on Valentine's Day here at Summit Vista. So sadly, I couldn't bring a cave inside, but I brought some Phantom of the Opera performers who both are with Hale Center Theater, and we did our own. We had them on different ends of the room, and the organ started playing, and they started singing from both sides of the room, and it was a very, very, very special night, and it happened to be on Valentine's Day. So, and you know, the residents, they love to come to these events because it brings such camaraderie between them. People who don't know each other want to sit by each other so they can get to know each other better. And they are able to spend time enjoying the music, talking, enjoying the wonderful food. And, you know, that's just the big thing to do here, is to go to one of our big parties in the evening. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Fountain of Youth, and we actually found that here at Summit Vista, and it's called New Year's Eve. You should see what happens to our residents. We have balloons up in the ceiling, and at our midnight, the balloons come down. And I want to tell you, I have never seen so many people go back to when they were 10, 12, 5, I don't know. We thought the balloons would just drop and that we would have to clean them up later, but no. Our residents grabbed forks or spoons, whatever they could, and they started popping balloons. It was crazy. It was mayhem, but I have never seen so many people having so much fun popping balloons. So keep that in mind. Everybody on New Year's Eve, everybody reverts back to their childhood. We have had Broadway shows here. Besides the Phantom, we had a production of Wicked on Halloween. Our residents also stepped aboard the Titanic, and we had a celebration on board the Titanic. Luckily, our Titanic did not sink, but we had some entertainment. We did pictures in front of the staircase, and we had a great time. I wanted to tell you about, and I got permission from the resident to tell you her story, but her husband had passed away about a year before she came to Summit Vista. And every year on Valentine's Day, he would hand her a rose, and he had a little saying that he would tell her. And I couldn't get a hold of her today. She gave me permission, but I got interrupted by the time I went to write it down. And now I don't have the exact words, but it was something like, "May this rose remind you of how special you are." So that's what her husband used to tell her. And She came to her first Valentine's Day celebration without her husband. She said she had a wonderful night, and at the end of, and we had roses out on the tables. And at the end of the night, another male resident picked up a rose and walked up to this particular resident and said the same exact words that her husband used to say to her, and handed her a rose. So we do, you know, it was meant for these people to be here, and we see that so many times with just such special and wonderful things happening between our residents. So I thought I would share that story with you because I think it's so special. We also do outings to different places in the community. We go to the Tulip Festival down at Thanksgiving Point. We go to museums. There was in North Ogden for around Veterans Day, they hung a huge flag in a canyon. And so we got our veterans together and other residents, and they were able to take the Summit Vista transportation and go see this wonderful flag. And then right now, even with things a little different right now, we're still keeping everybody busy doing virtual events, and we have entertainment and whatnot. But this morning as I was walking in, I saw a resident who had recently retired, and she was in the middle of the flowers, bent down doing something. And I said to her, Janet, did you lose something? And she said, no, I'm part of the Deadhead Club now. And, you know, I laughed. I said, oh, no, you're just retired here. And she said, no, there's really a Deadhead Club. We just formed it, and we have residents who are going around to all the flowers and picking the dead little heads off the flowers. So I guess we have 31 clubs now, because now we have a Deadhead Club as well. So it's such a joy to come to work, because every day I learn something new. Somebody has an idea of something really fun we can do, and we sit and we talk about it, and I think we've done every single thing every resident has ever had an idea to do. So we work together, we have fun together, and we are just celebrating life and having the best time we can. So I hope you all will join us and help us celebrate your best life with all the rest of us.
Thank you so much, Debbie. What I love about what you just said was that we embrace spontaneity and responding to residents' requests and what they want to do, even if it's right in the moment. And at the same time, you're very thoughtful and deliberate about bigger events that you plan, and how you put so much care and time and money and effort into what we do for residents. So there are really no rules around that. We partner with our residents to make sure that they have their needs met, and that we can really embrace our philosophy of having that sense of positive social connection, and at the same time having them feel that sense of contribution, because that is what is so powerful and so meaningful in living at Summit Vista that people don't have when they live in their own home. Certainly that they don't have these amazing events that all they have to do is walk down the hallway to join, that you create for folks. But also there's this synergy and there's this magic that takes place when you live among people in your same phase of life, and you have common goals, which is to do more of the things that you want to do, less of the things that you have to do, and be able to kind of feed off of one another to create new memories and do things that you never would have tried before. So can you talk a little bit more about that sense of contribution and how people have connected with others and tried new things, and just in general, how our approach has changed residents' lives?
Of course. You know, Christy's so right. I think people, when they move in here, are a little fearful of, you know, these people have been together for a year or whatnot, and they've gotten to know each other, and I'm new, and how will I fit in? And I witness so many wonderful things our residents do. Our residents are eager when somebody new moves in. They have it on their calendars. They know when somebody is moving in, and they can hardly wait to reach out and meet new people coming into the community, learn, you know, just talk for a little while. Normally when our restaurants are open, I mean, the new people don't even have a night free normally, because our residents are inviting them to dinner so that they can get to know them better. And they reach out to each other and they take care of each other. If somebody has something, an incident that's not comfortable for them, our residents as well as our staff team reach out, and we are there to provide whatever comfort, just a listening ear, or what, you know, a ride or whatever they need. So as far as our events go and bringing people together or somebody learning something new, I think about right now we're doing a virtual class where, well, let me back up and tell you that we started having interns come in from the outside to start an different types of arts program. And this particular intern has actually created films. He actually created a movie that we premiered to our residents. So that appears to be his future, is the filmmaking. And he right now is doing a class sharing with our residents how you make a movie. And he has sign-ups. Some of them are writing the script. Some of them are going to do casting. Some of them are going to do the makeup. They came up with the concept of the movie all on their own, and they want to include our high school students that work in the culinary department. And it's going to be the best movie I bet you've ever seen. So I hope you all can see the movie, because it's sounding like it's going to be fantastic. But one particular resident that we were surprised that signed up for the class, she's very quiet, very nice. She'll talk to anyone, but she's very quiet. And you see her a lot, but she's quiet. And I'm here to tell you, this class was her calling, because she has opened up. She has come up with most of the ideas for the script, and we also, who knew, found out that she was planning to write a book, a mystery book of some type. And she shared with us her story and has kind of incorporated that story into the plot of our film. And I see that all the time, where people find a hidden talent that they didn't even know they had. And the light in their eyes and the joy on their face, everyone can see it. And it just brings that feeling to everyone around them. And that we're so happy, and we celebrate that they have found this wonderful talent that they didn't know that they had. So that happens so often.
Thank you, Debbie. That's a great story. You know, we've talked a lot about how we have so much on the calendar, from watercolor to water aerobics, book clubs, you know, educational presentations, just a little bit for everyone. What would you say, maybe Raquel, you can answer this, to the person who says, you know, I haven't always been a joiner. I'm a little bit more of an introvert. What can this mean for me?
Absolutely. And we do hear that a lot, Christy, and we know that everyone is different. And the last thing we want to do is force people into things. We really believe in honoring and celebrating autonomy and our individual differences. And what I would say is, being in a community like Summit Vista, even if you say, I am not a gregarious extrovert, I don't want to go to parties, I don't, like big gatherings, is Summit Vista still for me? I would share, I think a story is the best approach. And we have had multiple residents who tell us, living in a traditional residential setting, I discovered when I retired that I began to be invisible to my community and in my neighborhood. You know, at 10, 15 years ago, my house was the house that people stopped at, neighbors walked in the back door. But as I retired, people moved away, the neighborhood changed. And I found that I was looking out the window or standing, sitting on the front porch, and people would wave to me as they were packing their kids in to play soccer. And that was really all the connection I had. And this feeling of invisibility and not contributing and having people not know who they are. We hear this so many times. And in a move to Summit Vista, even if events and classes are not for you, everyone here matters. When you go get your mail, for example, just to stop and get your mail, you're greeted by name by someone who knows you. If you feel like doing a puzzle with a few people in a card room, maybe not a large gathering, but that's more your thing. We have a card room, and that is a place where people go for smaller one-on-one connections. People can discover new talents. Maybe it's a quieter watercolor class, or as Christy mentioned, or sketching class, and having an opportunity to learn something new or to pick up maybe a latent talent that had to be put away for a while because of the busyness of life, and now it's time. And as Debbie said, it's not only fulfilling, no matter whether you're an extrovert or introvert, we have an opportunity for fulfillment to really meet anyone's needs. But I would add, it's also very good for our health. It is not good for our health and well-being to feel marginalized, to feel invisible in our neighborhoods. It's not good to feel lonely and isolated. And here at Summit Vista, that knowledge of knowing you're part of something bigger, of knowing that your contributions, however you define them, matter, and knowing that your story is important to us, and knowing that people know your name. They notice if you're not showing up to a restaurant or if you're not coming down to get your mail. You are part of a larger community here, and no matter what your preference is as far as activities and group size, that is not only important for your sense of fulfillment, but it is critical for your health and well-being to feel like you have layers of support and a safety net.
Thank you so much, Raquel. We only have about a couple of minutes left, so I want to let you all know if you've got specific questions about our healthcare navigator's role, or specific events that we may host, or how we approach welcoming and transitioning new residents. Any question, we are more than happy to answer that. Give us a call, send us an email. I'm Christy Still, and Jason Cockle, of course, is on this Zoom as well. And the two of us are your point of contact to make sure that you have the answers that you need and that we can support you in the most meaningful way as you are continuing to do research or for retirement living, or continuing to move through the process of moving into Summit Vista. So thank you very much again for joining us. It is our pleasure to share all the wonderful things that happen inside of the walls of Summit Vista. And we look forward to connecting with you and talking with you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Raquel, Debbie, we appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
You bet. Have a great day, everyone.
You
Thank
too.
you. Bye.